If you have a business and it isn't quite giving you the results that you really want, do you just keep going and keep pushing? Like, is success on the other side of just being consistent for a long enough time period? Or is there some other way to do this? Is there another way to think about it? I want to give you my thoughts on that from some insights that I got from a conference that I recently went to. Next, some quick updates on the channel. You'll notice some changes here. And then finally, I asked for questions and I got some questions. So I have some questions I want to cover surrounding like bookkeeping, organizing your bookkeeping and your budgets, what reports you should be looking at, and of course, we got a question on sales tax nexus, so I guess we'll talk about that too. First, the updates. You'll notice I'm in my old office again. I'm not at the bookstore today. Just the scheduling didn't work out for me to be over there. I also forgot my main camera at that office, and so I've got my phone like draped over my computer right now, using that as the camera. It's super stupid. Also, you'll notice, possibly, you might not notice, that this video was posted on Friday instead of Thursday. For this year, I was doing 2 videos per week and I was doing those on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't know why I did it that way. And I started realizing that Tuesdays and Fridays actually make more sense because it spreads it out a little bit and makes it more even distribution. And I don't know if YouTube's going to reward me for that, but I do know it is way easier to have a few days in between each video instead of having just one extra day to record the next video. So if you're watching this whenever it's posted, I apologize if you were looking for it yesterday on Thursday, obviously wasn't there. Do you care? Like, do you care what day of the week these are posted? That's actually a good question. What day of the week are you typically watching YouTube videos and what time of the day? Are you getting up early and just going through your subscriptions or whatever and just playing whatever's next? Are you listening to it while you're commuting? Or are you listening to it while you're working out or something? Like, what are you doing while you listen? When are you listening and how are you listening? Are you doing it from your phone? Are you doing it from the computer? Are you watching and listening or just listening? All that information kind of helps me to know what type of content to make and when to put it out there for you, because ultimately this is all for you. Okay, on to the main topic of what to do if your business isn't giving you the results that you want. The conference that I was at was for a lot of other Profit First professionals. Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, was leading the conference. And he started with this quote that came from a book, and I don't remember what the book was. And I can't remember word for word what the quote was, but the gist of it is, your business is perfectly designed right now to give you the results that you're currently getting. And that really struck me because it took me a second at first to realize what he was saying. Like, I didn't know what direction it was going, but your business is perfectly designed to get the results that you're getting. And so if you're not getting the results that you want, you need to redesign your business. And this kind of goes against some of the popular advice right now from people like Alex Ramosi and some of the others that say, just keep doing it, just keep going, even whenever it's hard, even if you're not seeing results, just keep doing it. And then the consistency is going to pay off eventually. And I do think that there is some wisdom in that. And I think that is appropriate to an extent. So for example, like with this YouTube channel, as I was going through this video and thinking about the topic for it, I started thinking like, wait a minute, I've been getting 10, 20, 30 views per video, and I just keep doing the same kinds of videos every week and then expecting to some reason get like more views. Does that mean that my channel is perfectly designed to get like a dozen views? And if that's the case, should I be doing something different? Or will I get more views as time goes on? And I think that maybe we have to think of things in 2 different buckets. One is like the machine that is your business, the ins and the outs that you get. And the other is skills. So for me, the YouTube channel is very much a skills game. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to record these very well. I don't know how to script these. I don't know how to frame things. I don't know how to do lighting. I don't know how to edit. So my idea is, if I continue making videos, then hopefully every time I do it, I get a little bit better at one of the things. I get a little bit more comfortable speaking. I get a little bit more comfortable making a thumbnail, doing titles, or whatever it is that goes into getting views on a video. So I do think to an extent that for me, for the YouTube channel, consistency is going to be important. But I do need to be tracking to see like, okay, I've done, gosh, I think 50 or 60 videos at this point. I was kind of hoping to get to 100 and I'm going to get there fairly quickly. I should start seeing some changes, right? Like I should start seeing some patterns, the videos that do well and the videos that don't do well, the videos that get better attention. And right now I'm honestly just ignoring all the stats. Like obviously I know the number of views, but I'm not charting out, well, this video got this many clicks, but people clicked off too quickly, or this video got a good whatever. I'm not doing that. And I guess I should start now that I have a good enough catalog. In the beginning, when I had like 6 videos, I was doing that. I was checking everything. I was checking all the numbers and all that. But then I realized like it doesn't make sense to check numbers when you only have 5 or 6 videos to compare it to. And now that I've got like 50 or so, it starts to make sense for me to start tracking that. So maybe that's what I need to do first. Start seeing like, yes, I'm not going to just all of a sudden see success. I don't think there's one thing that I could do different that would just change all of it. But I do need to see that things are moving in the right direction and start testing theories. If something works on one video, see if it works on another video or if it was just a fluke. So how does this relate to your business though? I think in a business, at a certain point, yes, there is some skill involved, especially if you're building something like an author business that relies on an audience. You have to reach that audience. And a lot of times the right way to reach an audience is just consistently showing up and being unavoidable, being in so many platforms and so often that people have to know who you are, especially the right people. I see a lot of times, well, this is a huge segue, but I see a lot of times authors posting things on social media, building up a social media presence, and their list appears to be other authors. They're posting about what it's like to be an author. They're posting about what it's like to deal with readers. And that's fine. And I think it's good for readers to see the inside of what an author does. But I think too many times, and I see this in the accounting community too, that we are posting things that people like us might like, but not necessarily our target audience. So you'll see accountants posting inside jokes about tax season and how difficult it is to deal with this client and all these things. But it's like, do your clients care about that? And as an author, if you're posting about these very specific author specific things, do your readers really care about that? Or do they want to be seen and heard as a reader rather than see that you're seen and heard as an author? Anyway, back to the main thing, if I can remember what I was talking about. So yes, if you're posting consistently and you're doing things to reach the audience that you're trying to reach, I do think that that does take some consistency, even if you're not getting the results out of it. I think maybe we should take content creation and that out of this conversation and focus mainly on the business, because at a certain point, you have a business that is just a series of inputs and outputs. You put time or money or attention or something into a business and it should spit something back out. Hopefully it spits out money. And the idea is it spits out more money than what you're putting into it. A great example of this is if you're doing direct sales and you're relying on social media ads for the majority of your revenue. If you have a certain type of ad, a certain type of ad copy, a certain audience, and you are putting money into this ad and you're getting like a 1 times ROAS where basically you're only earning as much as you're putting into it, you don't have any money left over to cover your costs, putting more money into it, I don't think is going to actually make it better. I think there is some sort of testing involved with Facebook ads where if you're doing it at too small of a volume, it's still trying to find your audience. And so you do have to increase spending at some point in order to have enough data there for Facebook to find the audience that it's trying to find. But if you're past that, if you're past the testing phase and maybe like you've seen some success with Facebook ads, but it's recently like decreased, you can't just keep doing the same exact thing over and over and expecting it to change or waiting for Facebook to hopefully like bless you with more sales or whatever. We have to change something. Maybe it's changing the ad copy or the ad itself. Maybe it's changing the audience. Maybe it's changing the ad strategy and not relying solely on Meta. Maybe it's turning to shop ads or Google ads or something else, or not ads at all. Maybe there's another avenue to get money that's not advertising. Maybe it's newsletters, maybe it's more community stuff, maybe it's in-person events. But the point is, I think don't get like caught up in all the hype around like, just do this one thing and do it forever until no one else is doing it and then you'll succeed. But what if it's a sinking ship? What if it's just not working? What if it's not your style? What if it's not for your business? Or maybe your audience just doesn't want the thing that you're saying or the way that you're saying it. I do think that there's some wisdom in changing. I'm kind of happy right now just having a couple dozen views on each video, because if I started like getting tons and tons of views, then it feels scary to be that exposed. And so I don't have this huge motivation to go and say, I need to hire a YouTube coach and do things way different so I could blow up my channel. And so I'm kind of happy just being consistent with it and letting it grow naturally. And if it grows, it grows. And if it doesn't, then I'll just consider if I continue like doing it. But right now, this channel isn't monetized. It's not something that I'm earning money off of. It's not really a lead generator at this point. Maybe one day it would be, but it's not anything that I'm getting a tangible return on my investment of time into this channel. And I'm okay with that. It's kind of an outlet for me and it's fun. But my business, on the other hand, is not a creative outlet. It's not just for fun. It pays the bills. I need money to come out of this business for this to make sense. And so If I find that, yes, we're increasing revenue, we're bringing on more clients, we're doing better services, we're increasing value, but maybe it's not happening fast enough, then I can't just keep doing more of the same thing. It means that something has to change. So if you are not getting the results that you want to see out of your business, I think first, think about whether or not the thing that you're doing, the thing that you're not getting the results out of, is it a skills-based thing and you just need to put in the reps to get the skills? And if that's the case, then maybe do just keep doing the thing. But if you're wanting to shortcut that skills gap, maybe there's a course or a coach or a mentor that you could pay in order to fast track that skills gap to where you're not spending so much time doing it. If it's not a skills-based thing, if it is just you've built this machine that's not putting out what you need to put in, you have to redesign the machine. Look at what you're putting in, make sure that you're putting in the right stuff, time in the right places, the money in the right places, and then make sure that the machine is actually designed the right way to give you the results you want. I think the first step to that is actually knowing what results you want out of it. Like, how much revenue do you need to get out of your business? How many books do you need to sell? And maybe that's actually the very first step is, what are the results that you would expect? Because you can't know whether or not your business is designed to get the results you want if you don't know what results you want. So if you want to know how your business is currently designed, look to see what results you're getting. That's the business that your business is designed to get. I said that wrong. You get what I'm saying. Okay, let's go to questions. So first question, I'd really like to understand what reports I should be running, in my case in QuickBooks, and how I should be reading them in order to understand the health of my author business. Like, what should I be looking at for my ad numbers? And there was another question that just says budgeting and bookkeeping organization, which I'm kind of thinking is pretty much the same thing. Now, here's what's interesting. I was setting aside time in these videos, these rambling videos, to answer questions, but these videos has been more about like mindset and stuff like that. The questions I'm getting are more technical in nature. So what I'll probably end up doing is doing some more deep dive videos into the specific questions, like maybe even some walkthroughs on the Tuesday videos, but I'll just talk in general about the answers to these questions on this video. So what reports should you be looking at in QuickBooks for your author business? It honestly depends, and I hate that that's the answer, but it is. It depends on what you're trying to track in your business. There's no one report that you can look at and say, aha, my business is healthy. Healthy is going to be a little bit subjective. Subjective? Yes, subjective. Are you focusing right now on revenue growth, or are you focused on profits? Or are you reinvesting your profits back into your business and trying to get a positive return on that investment? Honestly, if you're not tracking anything right now, the thing that you should be tracking probably isn't even in QuickBooks. You should be looking at your daily cash balance and tracking what your cash is every maybe day, week, at least every month. I did a video Tuesday on the thing that you should be tracking, and in there I actually walk you through a spreadsheet that you can use to track your cash and why it's so important to know what your cash flow is. So check that out if you haven't. You can get a copy of that spreadsheet in the link in the description of that video. But if you do want to track something in QuickBooks and look at reports, look at your profit and loss. Your profit and loss is kind of the report card for how your business has done. And I did another video on this channel on how to read your profit and loss and how to know if the numbers are actually good. I'll put a link to that somewhere around here. But the point is, your financial statements and the reports that you're going to get out of QuickBooks, they're agnostic. They don't say that something's good or something's bad. They just give you information, but it's up to you to use that information to decide whether or not it's good or bad. And you decide that based on something you're comparing it to. You're comparing the numbers to either your expectations, you're comparing it to prior years or prior periods, or you're comparing it to other authors and other industry benchmarks. So in this example, in this question, she called out specifically ad numbers. If you're looking at your ad numbers and you want to know whether or not you're getting a good return on your ad spend, then you're going to go to your profit and loss, and you're going to look at your total revenue, and you're going to look at your total ad spend. There's no one report in QuickBooks that's going to tell you like, this is your ROAS, this is your return on ad spend. It's not going to do that math for you, but you can do the math pretty quickly. You just look at your total revenue on your profit and loss and divide it by your ad spend and see what that number is. If you have $10,000 of revenue and $5,000 of ad spend, and your ROAS is 2 times. But is that good or is it bad? What if your ROAS used to be 5 times and now it's fallen to 2? Or what if it used to be 1 times ROAS and now it's increased to 2? So it's all relative to what your expectations are and what you're trying to get out of your business. Typically, looking at a single time period in QuickBooks is not very useful. I'm always going to try and compare it to something. I might pull up the last 12 months P&L and do month by month so I can see every single month and see how it's changed over time. I might even put that into like a chart or a graph in Excel. So yeah, the short answer is it depends on what you're trying to get out of your business. The other related question was just budgeting and bookkeeping organization. I'm actually going to link to another video that I did with Jessica. It was a really good video where she went through her checklist of everything she does for her finance days. So I think the first step to organizing your budget and financial life is setting up a schedule to know that every single Monday or every single Tuesday at this time, I'm going to go through this set of steps. I'm going to reconcile my checking accounts if it's been the end of the month. I'm going to categorize all the transactions in QuickBooks. I'm going to look at upcoming bills. I'm going to check my cash balance and make sure that there's money in the bank to pay the bills. Having a consistent set of steps on a consistent schedule is going to do so many things for you and your business. But just remember that all of this is malleable. The reports that you're looking at now, the things that are on your financial checklist now are not going to necessarily be the same things that are on your checklist a year from now, or maybe even 6 months from now. For example, during tax season, whenever a lot of money is coming into my business, I'm not looking at things the same way as I am during October, November, December, whenever I am using the money that came in during tax season. The reports that I'm looking at are different. The things that I'm doing on a weekly basis on the financials of my business are different. So it's all going to be based on the season that your business is in and the thing that you're focused on at the moment. So you have to know, what are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to do? And then recognize that all the information you're getting from QuickBooks and from your budgeting and from your bookkeeping is just data. It's all just information that you're using to support the decisions that you're trying to make. Last question that I got from this last email newsletter. If you're not on the newsletter, sign up for that. I send out tips and everything. And last week, the newsletter, or maybe it was this week, was actually asking for questions for the YouTube channel. So sign up for that if you haven't. I'm going to put a link in the description. But the question was, your content is great. Thanks. A hand-holding walkthrough for how to act tax appropriately when you have a direct sales store. Tax nexus? Does digital count? Do I have to register with my state if I'm only selling an item or two a month? It's so confusing. Thanks for all you do. It is confusing. It's a dumpster fire. I'm assuming that the whole question is around sales tax because that's what most of it is with tax nexus and registering with the state and things like that. Sales tax is such a dumpster fire. I did another video on this. I can't remember which one it was, so I don't know if I'll be able to link to it, but sales tax is hot garbage. It's all state dependent. And so there's 50 different sets of rules. And then even within those states, some counties, or in Louisiana, we have parishes, they have their own set of rules. Some local towns have their own set of rules. And so it all just depends. And this is kind of what I default back to. If you have a physical presence in a location, you live there, then you technically have physical nexus. You have a connection to that place. So anything that you sell within that state to anyone else within that state is going to be subject to your state's laws. So if I'm in Louisiana and I write a book and I sell that book to someone in Louisiana, then that transaction is subject to Louisiana sales tax. But if I sell that book from Louisiana to someone in Texas, then I have to follow Texas's laws on what's considered nexus. I don't have a physical location or a physical presence in Texas, and so I don't have Texas nexus that way. I love saying that. But what if I have what's called economic nexus? Economic nexus is basically you've done enough activity within a state for the state to say, hey, look, you're basically here. You're selling so much stuff here. It doesn't make sense not to tax you on it. So what is economic nexus? I don't know. It's whatever each state decides it is, and every state's different. The general rule of thumb, and don't take this as gospel or anything, but the general rule of thumb is $100,000 of sales within that state and or 200 transactions. Every state applies this totally differently. Some of them are $100,000 in sales and 200 transactions. So if you have one transaction for $100,000, you still don't have economic nexus. Some are actually 100,000 or 200 transactions. Now those are starting to fall away and starting to change their laws because think about it, like 200 transactions at, $10 per transactions isn't anywhere near $100,000. And so you could have a very small dollar amount of sales into a state and technically be expected to register and collect and pay sales tax for every one of the sales in that state. Some states do a rolling 12 months to track the 100,000. Some states do a calendar year. Some states tax digital products and some states don't tax digital products like ebooks. So it all is just dependent. So if you're hearing this, and you're like, great, I'm more confused than ever now. You probably should be. Think of it like this though. If you live in a state that taxes digital products like ebooks or whatever it is that you're selling, then you need to register for a sales tax account within your state because you're physically present there. You definitely have nexus. And if you're selling outside of your state, then you probably, big asterisk here, don't need to worry about sales tax until you get to the point where the sales are so significant that you need to start looking into the sales tax rules for each one of those states. If you're super, super worried about this, you could get something like TaxJar or Avalara. They will help you figure out whether or not you have nexus in each state. If you're using Shopify, you can plug something like Avalara into Shopify and it'll track your nexus by state and it'll tell you, hey, you're getting pretty close. You probably want to start registering for sales tax here. And in some cases, it can even facilitate like filing the sales tax returns for you using those programs. That is going to be it for me on this video. If you have questions that you want me to answer, you can put those in the comments below, or if you don't want those to be public, you can join the newsletter and just reply to one of the newsletters and I'll get the question. Bookstore is coming along. We have our grand opening in like a week from when this video is going to be posted, the end of May, the last Saturday of May. So still so much to do, but it is coming along very, very quickly. Super excited about it. And I can't wait to show y'all the whole thing. If you're not following the Book Dragon Bookstore on Instagram and Facebook, go follow that because we're giving some sneak peeks there. I'll put a link in the description of that too. Let me know what your questions are, and I will see you next time.